Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Fowl was released in America in 2024 and was released in UK and Ireland and some other countries in 2025. It tells the story where Gromit is starting to feel a little worried about Wallace relying on gnomes that he created as the gnomes start to have a mind of their own, and they also see the return of an old enemy, Feathers. Vengeance Most Foul was very, very weird when I first heard about it. I didn't know how to react, to be honest. I was just kind of like, oh wow, we're getting a new Wallace and Gromit. But I wasn't sure how to feel about this movie being made. Don't get me wrong, I really do love the Wallace and Gromit franchise. The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is legit in my top 30 favorite movies of all time. It's one of my favorite stop motion movies, one of my favorite DreamWorks movies, and of course it's one of my favorite Aardman movies, second below Chicken Run. And I just wasn't exactly sure how to feel going into this one. It took a while though for it to come out, because I think it came out on BBC. I think it aired on BBC around Christmas time, but then apparently it went to Netflix around, I think it was January in America. But over here, I don't think many people in the UK and Ireland had seen it when it aired. I could be wrong because I did hear something about that. But it only dropped, I think it was just before I was going away on holidays. So I didn't get a chance to watch it until yesterday. And after watching it for myself, I think it's good. It's a fun, enjoyable film, but my problem is the story. The storyline is not that great. It's not a bad story, it definitely has its merit, but for me, the biggest problem was the first half. I'm not gonna lie, my reaction during the first half was this. The first half just felt more of the same from the previous Wallace and Gromit movies. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it felt like it was lacking the smarts, the cleverness, the intelligence, the genius writing of what makes Wallace and Gromit special. And it took a while for the movie to get going. The first half, it was kind of boring, honestly, and it kind of felt like nothing really was happening. There was stuff happening, but it just, I don't know, the first half just felt kind of bland and not really all that interesting. However, while the first half was a little bit bland, thankfully the film's second half was much better. The second half was more clever, it was more genius, and it was a lot more interesting. The second half brought in the engagement of the other movies, and it felt like it was bringing in something new. So the second half was both fun, it was engaging, and it was very entertaining. The film's dialogue is also very, very funny. The comedy is excellent, the heart is still in the right places, especially with the dynamic and the relationship of Wallace and Gromit. And the film's humour and comedy is genuinely very, very funny. There's a little bit of a subplot going on with the policeman and the policewoman, and it's actually really, really funny. Their dialogue and interactions can be very entertaining. So the second half definitely made up for the first half. The first half just kind of felt a bit of a more blander version, and just kind of felt it was just more of the same stuff that we've seen in the other movies, just lacking the flair, lacking the intelligence and smarts and wit of the other movies. But thankfully, even if it did have a bland first half, there was still merit, and the second half more than made up for it. Visually, the movie looks really nice. It's clear, it's crisp, the colour correction is excellent, the locations look very nice, the character designs are really good, the movements, again, are excellent. It still maintains that Wallace and Gromit stop motion charm, even after all these years. And I really, really like that. I think it's something to really appreciate about this movie. It's something that I think should definitely be valued, because while it's been like, what, I think about 17 years since the last Wallace and Gromit movie. Now, I could be wrong, so do correct me in the comment section below if I am wrong, but considering it's been so long, I was kind of expecting something of a little bit of a change. But I like that it's, improved visuals. It still has the same charm. It has that nostalgia, in a way, of the previous movies. And I think that's so charming and absolutely excellent. So visually, the movie looks great. The film's action and the climax are tons of fun to watch. The film doesn't fail with the action, and overall, there's some very entertaining action sequences in the movie. And the movie's characters are still pretty good. Wallace and Gromit are definitely the best thing about the movie. They have decent character arcs, but they have an excellent bonded dynamic, and they truly bring in the heart of the film. The two police are absolutely hilarious. They have such a funny dynamic, and their interactions are so much fun to watch. The gnomes are fun, and it is very nice to see Feathers again. I don't think he's quite as good as he was before, but he is still pretty good, and he's actually really fun in the climax. So the film does have a pretty solid and likeable cast of characters, I have to say. The music is pretty good, it still has the charm of the Wallace and Gromit soundtrack, and it really fits in the movie, I have to say. And the music is overall very well composed. I definitely do need to watch these movies again to decide a proper ranking, but I think for now, this is probably at the bottom of the Wallace and Gromit movies for me, but it's not a bad thing. It's just that first half, I don't know, it wasn't really doing it for me, and I was kind of thinking with the first half, I don't know how this is going. There's some merit to it, but it overall just isn't really that interesting. But thankfully, with the second half, it got a lot better. It did get more interesting. Even if there was a bland first half, at least I can say my favourite thing about the first half was definitely the film's sense of humour. The humour, I would have to say, is definitely the saving grace of the movie's first half. Overall, Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fowl does suffer from a little bit of a lackluster first half, but it definitely has a much better second half. The animation is stunning, the characters are still likeable, and the music is pretty good. This is definitely worth a watch, even though it took a while for it to get going. I'm going to give Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fowl a 7 out of 10. I can definitely see my opinion on it changing on a rewatch, which I probably will rewatch it at some point. So that is it for my review of Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fowl. Let me know what you guys think of the film in the comments section below. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care everyone, stay tuned for my next review, and until then, skidoosh everyone.